You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice, rr@gmail.com. Before we get to a couple of these, Kyle, thanks for the work on the bonus Sunday pod. And for those that are asking how the schedule works, I'll reiterate it to this audience that when I go on with Bill on Sundays now, that'll mean Tuesday, Thursday for me. And when I don't do a Sunday, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's how we're going to do it for a little while. It's going to be kind of like every other week for a bit because I think we were together for so long and then we still have a ways to go with the basketball. We probably both don't want to talk to each other for 2.5 hours every Sunday. So that might be his preference more than mine. Now I've made it weird, like I'm talking about there's a problem between us. And obviously, Kyle, maybe you should chime in here as the arbiter of this. There's no issues. I just think we're trying to space them out, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what the interesting part of this is no matter what, I always work on Sunday. So it's all the same to me.
Yeah, there you go. Kyle didn't care.
No drinking on Sundays.
How much does that screw up your routine? Are you a big Sunday drink guy?
I used to be. I definitely used to be. It was like a full day after Saturday. Like it was like Monday was the day that you dreaded, but then it's like, oh, Sunday, because people want to do stuff. They want to go, mess around on Sunday. But I got to be like, oh shit, hold on. It's 12 o'clock, which is fine. But I think we're recording at 4 today, so I think I should probably be out of here by 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I don't know. You just don't want to fuck things up, and it's easier.
You stop drinking at 1 o'clock on Sundays if you have to work, is what you're saying.
Exactly, and
that's
sucks.
Pretty responsible, buddy.
Well, it depends on what time, because sometimes it's like, oh, if it's a good game now that it's NBA, it's like, all right, we'll go at 7 o'clock after the last game. But then Bill will be like, you know what? Fuck it. This game sucks. I'm not going to watch it. It's 4 o'clock now. And it's like fucking red alert. I got to get home. Like, you know what I mean? So,
cold shower.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm happy to have a job, whatever.
No, that's great. that's amazing. I never, we didn't drink on Sunday in college. I know some colleges do it but we didn't do that. We didn't sit around and tank beers and watch the NFL on Sunday. But by the time Saturday rolled around, everybody was kind of burnt out from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Saturdays where I went to school, especially with no college football, I mean, lacrosse kept it going for a little bit there, but there was no, like, I'll hear about other guys that went to school and they were like, oh my God, Sundays used to be ridiculous, out of control.
Sunday fun day
stuff. I'm like,
it's a wild card day.
Yeah, Sunday fun day that term didn't even exist. Nobody had shirts or anything back when again, it was a long time ago now where I'm talking to myself, but Sunday was not, Saturdays were lame. By the time Saturday rolled around, we were kind of over it already anyway. So then Sunday, you didn't want to keep it going because you probably, cleared the system.
I guess my point with Sunday is the blank slate. So, if you've got something that's looming on Sunday, it's not so much a blank slate anymore. That's what I mean.
Yeah, for me, I had to entertain America for a decade. So, Monday? No, give me a break. Okay, here we go. Our man's checking in here. Thanks to nephew Kyle and Ryan for reading the email. 6'1", barefoot. Oh, wow. All right. 195, 38 years old. Don't know my max, but I can do a few reps at 225. Great. Thank you. Just moved across the state and I'm starting a new job. I've heard Ryan read multiple emails of people looking to meet new friends when they move to a new city. I'm the opposite. Every time I started a new job, I have random guys asking me to hang out. I'm not trying to sound like an ass, but I have a solid group of friends. I'm not really looking to add to it. I don't want people at my new place of work to think that I'm a total jerk, but I've always had problems with this in the past when I've switched jobs or departments in the past. At my previous job, I transferred departments, and a guy I had known only a few days said he had 2 tickets to Jim Gaffigan and wanted to know if I would like to go with him. Wasn't really interested in hanging out alone with a person I had just met. But when I said I was busy, the guy seemed like he took it personally and didn't talk to me for a while. This kind of stuff has happened to me multiple times in the past. I want to get along with my coworkers, but I'm just not interested in hanging out with everyone outside of the workplace. I'm not sure if this makes me an oddball, but it is what it is. How do I adroitly, good use, get out of the situations where coworkers want to spend time out of work without becoming the office jerk? It's already too late, man. They're already talking about you. They think you're a dick. And I think you kind of know it. And you're not changing at 38. I'm not going to sit here and be like, here's some tips to be friendlier, because you don't care. And I have groups where no one's added to the group since college. And we'll laugh and be like, we have another guy who's Mr. Country Club, and he's meeting everybody. He's saying hi. And, he actually, I think, likes strangers more than he likes us sometimes. And we're just like, wait, you're adding new friends? Like you're going on ski trips with guys you're meeting in your 40s? Like what's that like? That's got to be weird. It's kind of a general theme of all the stuff that we've been talking about, where if it's a core guy, you can get away with more because you've just accepted each other at this point of your life, right? When you could do the same thing, and if you're not a core guy and you're doing it with the new guys, and the new guys are like, what the hell's this guy deal? It's just a different level. It's kind of like the first few dates versus, going to the bathroom with the door open when you're married. That's basically what it is. So you don't want to add anybody to the group, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm kind of like that at times, but I would say on this one, how do you fix it? How do you do this? Well, there's not really a fix. You decided to tell everybody every place you've worked that you don't really want to hang out with them, and that's what you're going to be, and that's what they say to you behind your back, which isn't the worst thing to be called. And like, oh, that guy's kind of a dick. Doesn't want to be friends with anybody. I, too, would probably not go to a comedy show with a guy I had just met. But I don't even know why you sent the email in a way, because I think you already know all of this stuff. Kyle, want to add to this?
What is this guy giving off pheromones or something? Is he fucking Danny Cordray in The Office? Like wherever he goes, people are they're just drawn to him. What does this guy look like?
Yeah, is this the coolest guy that's ever emailed
I'm just
the
so
show?
tired of people trying to bring me to shit as soon as I walk in a room.
Fucking cool, and people won't leave me alone. No, it's a great call by you, because it's like everywhere I go, people want to hang out.
They just want a piece of it.
All right. Yeah. What are you, a fucking stunt man? Where do you work? So I don't have a problem with the guy. I don't have a problem with anything he's saying. I'm just going like, there's no real solution on this, right? I
feel weird because like I'm in the opposite position now. All my friends have left my place of work, and so now I have like no friends here, and I wish people would come up to me.
You want strangers? All right. So if you guys see Kyle walking around at any point in the LA area, just go up and ask him if you want to be best friends immediately. Speaking of, this segues in perfectly because it's not a life advice, but I saw the email, so let's go. Thank you, Kyle, for pointing this one out. First time writing into the show, I was with my girlfriend in Manhattan Beach on Sunday and just so happened to run into Ryan. He was parking and putting money in the meter, and I was about to say hi. I normally never go up to anyone, but figured why not? I went to approach him, and he turned his face, making eye contact with me. He gave me the meanest look I've ever seen. It looked like he was in the Ludacris music video for Get Back or something like that. Side note, Ryan was rocking some, so Legends Clothing made me some custom gear just for me. So they came with a logo and everything. So it's a logo and then it says RSLO. Some of you may think it's lame. I think it's fucking awesome. And shout out to Legends for doing it for me. They were a gift from the guys over there. So they don't make them to sell or anything like that. So he said, more importantly, can we get these on the Ringer merch site? If so, I'll take a medium. Sorry, we don't sell them.
Nope, he can't seem to get them to anyone. So
yeah, nobody's got them. There's only like a few ever made. And I gave one pair to my brother, and Matt Bushman claiming a pair. And so, we'll see. But the stuff is really, really nice, and it's great to work out in. So yes, that's what I was wearing. So where are we going with this? Oh, anyway, so Ryan looked like an absolute asshole dressed in all black. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember giving anyone a mean look. I remember when I was going to Cowherd Hotel to meet with him, and we had breakfast. Cowherd called me at 8 a.m. on Sunday and says, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" I was like, "Getting my day started. I was about to work out." And he goes, "Let's go power walk." And at first, my first response was, okay, how do I say no to this? Because I definitely don't want to do it, but I'll be nice. And then I was like, no. I go, yeah, I don't want to do that at all. I was like, I'm not doing that. And he was like, okay. All right, then. I was like, what do you mean power walk? He goes, yeah, we'll go down to the Strand. Like an hour. Go back and forth. I'm like, no, yeah, I don't want to do that. Power walk? What am I, 100? I don't want to do that. So he's like, oh, what are you going to lift? I was like, yeah, probably. I don't know. Like, I watch games, I lift, I sit at home and write. Sometimes I stare. And so anyway, that's what I did. I went to meet at Cowherd to have breakfast after his power walk and after I worked out. So yeah, I was dressed in workout gear. And by the way, if you're in Manhattan Beach, look, I don't even care about the Manhattan Beach part of it. I was saying to somebody the other day, I think I've been in workout shorts and hoodies from Legends for 6 months. It's probably a year. So I guess I looked like an asshole in workout attire. All right. Because I realized he was probably just in a rush to get food with Cowherd after spending a stressful morning at car dealerships. The lesson to be learned is that people are dealing with shit. It's important not to judge. I was in a great mood. I just bought a brand new car, and I was meeting up with Cowherd, who I like bullshitting with. So, yeah, I don't know. I wear workout gear when I walk around town. What's up? All right. We also had a lot of people chime in on the buying car thing after Bill and I did our segment on that. There's a slight correction that Bill and I should have made in the moment, but we didn't because we just got on a roll. If you're buying and you're holding on to the car for a really long time and the APR is impacted by the down payment, then yes, then I would be okay with a down payment. Because if you're leasing a car, but you want to buy the car after you lease, that's actually terrible. But if you're in a situation where you can lease the car, keep it for 3 to 4 years, and then you go, okay, now I'm getting another car. Some people do that. Some people are very into their cars. Some people look at a car and saying, I don't want any kind of payment, and I'm going to drive it into the ground, and I'm going to get a car every 15 years. Nobody's wrong in this. You do whatever you're going to do. But for Bill and I to give advice and then not mention that it's also a lease, because I've just never understood if you're going to do a lease, but you're expecting another car in another 3 to 4 years, because you're in a situation where that's okay, your budget allows for it. I wouldn't put any money down on a lease ever with that kind of stuff. And always be willing to walk away. Real estate, cars, wives. No, I'm just kidding. I'm throwing that in there. All right, we should probably do one that's a little bit more, I don't know, serious. What are you feeling right now, Kyle? Oh, I got one for you. This is a good one. All right, last one. 35-year-old American expat. You know what expat means, Kyle?
I got an idea. Well, hold on.
You know
Actually,
what?
no, I don't.
That's a great example of how to define expat. I had read it forever and didn't quite. I was like, yeah, well, do I actually know what the hell this means? It's just basically an American living abroad, right?
Oh, I got it.
So you could understand it in the context of the sentence, but if you're not sitting there on dictionary.com,
Belichick either cut you, or maybe you didn't get or he was in like a group called like the Patriots who get a little riled up about the Constitution or something, and now he left it. I don't know. I didn't know exactly I had no idea what he was talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a broader term of anyone living outside the order, but you went like you thought Riche Caldwell was checking in from Stuttgart.
That's right.
Okay. All right. I don't think it's him. All right. 5'8", 160, 5 pull-ups max. Bad number. If you weigh 165, pull-ups is low. But he given himself an 8 out of 10. You know what I like is when guys are doing the self-assessments there, it'll be 5, but maybe a 6, or like, hey, I'm 6, but on a good day, a 7. No one ever goes, I'm a 7, but I can look like a 5 sometimes. People don't do that very often. And sometimes we all look like 5s.
That's a good point.
Sometimes every day. Been struggling with some of the rules in this country and the general strictness and fickiness of the people in the culture. I'll give you a few examples to illustrate my point. I live in a big apartment complex. When I take out the garbage, neighbors will watch me as if they were garbage umpires. There's no reason for this. I separate my garbage properly. It's not like I'm throwing the aluminum cans in a proper waste bin. Oh, in the paper waste bin. See, I already went international there. I said proper.
Yeah, you did.
All right, so he's not throwing the cans in the paper. It's really strange to have a silent person standing there watching your every move. It's not just me. This happens to other people too. I haven't said anything yet, but I do want to tell them to go away or mind their own business. All right. Another garbage example. I was walking through town, had a plastic food wrapper that I wanted to dispose of, think something the size of like a potato chip bag. I saw a set of garbage bins alongside the road, so I threw the small paper, the wrapper, into the plastics bin. Out of nowhere, an older man pops out and asks me if I live here. I said no. He then started raising his voice, was telling me that I'm not allowed to throw away trash in these bins, that I guess they were designated for that particular building. I said something along the lines of, it's a tiny piece of plastic, man. This isn't a big deal. And then I started walking away, and he continued yelling at me. He went into the bin, grabbed the wrapper, caught up to me, and stuck it in my hand. I just kept walking. I didn't bother to say anything back or argue with the guy. Also, the general strictness around walking paths, crosswalks, bike lanes. I've been yelled at for slightly deviating outside the boundaries in the bike lanes or not crossing the road at the spot where there's a crosswalk, even if there's no cars in sight. I've got good field awareness. Awesome. So I'm never obstructing people or traffic if this happens. I've been yelled at a few times for parking my bike in places that aren't in the designated parking bike spots. Keep in mind, I'm conscientious. When I do this, if I lean my bike against a tree or a post, I make sure it's never in the way, and I only do this in situations when I'm in a hurry and the bike will be there for 10 minutes max. Also, I've been yelled at for not turning my car off while I'm spending 2 freaking minutes to get my GPS situated before I get going. You're not allowed to leave your car running over here. Again, I'm cognizant of this rule occasionally and will forget to turn off the car while I'm getting myself situated. Even had a guy knock on the window when I was in a grocery store parking lot waiting for the heat to get hot. I'm frustrated with the overall enforcement obedience of every single little inconsequential rule over here. Thus far, I haven't lashed out back at anyone, but really want to tell some of these people either mind their own business, chill out, man, fuck off, worry about something else, or maybe even, well, that's a pretty tough word to call them. I'm not going to advise that one. I speak German well enough for people to mostly understand me, and I mostly understand them. As an American guest in their country, is it okay to occasionally tell off these people, or must I always bite my tongue and just deal with it?
Come back, dude.
Yeah, why do you live there? I mean, you left that part out, so it has to be something. If you said you're not in the military, it has to be something that's worth your while. But if it is this constant hassle, I mean, look how many things we touched on. Garbage, recycling, crosswalks, bike lanes, issues, bike parking, idling car. We're at 6. Kyle, you couldn't handle it there. If you were stationed in Heidelberg, you'd be back. You wouldn't even, you'd leave before the lease was up.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, it's also like, do I want to be the ugly American? But I started getting upset for this guy. And it's like, wait, that is an ugly American thing to be like, hey, fuck you, man. It's like, no, you're there. That's how it is. Like, but yeah, just bounce. I would have bounced. Bounce, dude. I would have bounced.
Well, he obviously has to be there for a reason. He must like it. Like, I actually love visiting Germany, but I mean, I was 18. We were drinking beer the entire time, and it was unbelievable. It's one of the best 2 weeks I think I've ever had in my life, which is pretty cool because in the moment I was like, does life get better than this? And we just had a blast. It was like a bunch of us, and we'd already kind of graduated, which was weird. So there wasn't really much no one. Imagine going on a high school trip with kids that have already graduated and they're all waiting to go away to college. Like, none of us were going to listen to anything. And then I hooked up with that biker gang. So that was kind of cool because it worked out. And I was in Oberboigen, which was close to Wenglingen. If any of you guys are curious about that. But let's think here. I just don't know. I don't know. You're not going to win any of these arguments. None of them. And I think it's a good reminder that, like, think of wherever you've been. Maybe you've been vacationing somewhere, or maybe you're in New York City. Like, I always say this as a joke because nobody ever gets mad at like anybody being mad at like somebody from Finland. But like, you walk around Times Square and it'd be like this monstrous couple with a huge boy named Jens or something, and he's fucking enormous, and he's 6'6", and the mom played volleyball, and they've got like maps out, and they're just like in the way the whole time. But nobody's ever going to get mad at anybody from Finland. Like, some of my best friends are from Finland. But there can be things that you would see as your everyday where you're like, what the hell are you doing? Now, Times Square is a bad example because, other than bubblegum shrimp, I don't even know why you're there. But it's like anything, like where I used to live in all the different travelers, all the different foreigners that we would have on Martha's Vineyard. And you just be like, what the hell are you doing? So basically that's who you are in whatever village that you live in Germany. You are wrong all the time. Now, Kyle and I agree with you. This seems ridiculous. Most of the people listening to this, I'm sure, are mostly Americans, other than shout out to New Zealand and Australia. We have, we're on the same page, but this is a pointless fight. It's pointless. Like, yeah, you could yell at a couple guys. None of this is going to change. This is their culture. You are in it. And I would say adapt a little bit better. That's about the only way. If you're going to keep living there, you can drive yourself crazy. You might be right about all of this stuff. The crosswalk thing can get really weird some places. But, I mean, that'll be city by city. There's times where I think in Boston, we just run all over the place. Like, we don't wait for the crosswalk, especially if you're downtown. You're just like, all right, I'm crossing the street. There's other cities where you try to do that stuff, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? So that's not even just an American thing. That can be city to city. So here you are in this country that is, by nature rigid. And I don't know. You're going to drive yourself crazy. I mean, if you're sitting here complaining about this stuff now and you're 35, you either move or you start throwing garbage in your garbage bins. Kyle, where are you with the dog shit in somebody else's bin thing?
Ooh, see, like, that's where I think listen, I've thrown plenty of dog shit in plenty of random bins, but I do see where that could be like a crossing the line. Like, yo, you want to throw your bottle in my fucking thing? I'm glad you're not throwing it on the ground, because I watch so many people throw stuff on the ground and bite my tongue, because like my mom was a big like litter bug pointer outer, so it's like in my blood where I'm like, oh, you fucker. But like I know that's not a good thing to fight over. But so like I'm generally, I think I'd be fine if I got garbage bins on the curb. You guys throwing anything in there. But yeah, like a pile of dog shit, I could see where that's like I'm straddling the line on that. I think there's times when I think it's fine, and others where I would totally see why it's okay for you to be pissed off that somebody's throwing feces in your garbage bin that's going to sit there for a week.
Every dog owner right now is going, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with that. I should be allowed to throw my dog's shit in your garbage.
I also see it with the long walk. It's like, hey, we just started the walk. We've got another, 1.8 miles, but I'm not carrying this bag of shit. That's for sure.
I'm actually okay with it, even though I don't love it. Is that fair?
That's exactly what I was trying to say in that many words.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it'll happen. And I go, yeah, I wouldn't want to walk around with that. But if it was happening all the time, like if all of a sudden
yours the pit stop.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I think,
There's
like
12
I
bags
said,
of shit in your bag.
I'm okay with it, but I don't love it. There you go. All right. That's the end of the pod. We have an incredible pod for you on Thursday. Nate Bargatze is going to join us again. He's got a new special out on Netflix, and we're going to pitch him some stand-up bits. And I already ran this by him, and he's so not into it that it could go awful. But we're doing it anyway, so I don't care. We're doing it. And then TBD on an NBA player who could be traded. We're not sure, so we're hoping we're still going to have him. It is not Kyle Lowry, for those reading his convenient Instagram posts. We'll talk to you Thursday.